Hello, and welcome everyone. We are honored that you've chosen to be with us today. My name is Sherina Smith, Chief Marketing Officer at American Family Insurance. Thank you for joining us for this very special event. Here at American Family, we believe communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created the DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and virtual experience dedicated to supporting dreamers everywhere. At American Family, we are authentically committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So celebrating and activating these foundations is our mission. To inspire, protect, and restore dreams is what our brand is built on, and we're really excited for today's event. Today, in celebration of Women's Herstory Month, we are delighted for the opportunity to welcome to the virtual stage Ms. Lila Grant. Lila is the second female drum major in the Morehouse House of Funk marching band history and was a creative consultant for the production of our commercial marching band that aired last fall. Lila's story discusses the importance of community and support needed to pave the way for other women to succeed. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Lila.
Hi.
Hi. I am so thrilled to be talking to you today.
Yes, you as well, Sherina. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So let's jump in. What an incredible career you've had already. I'm feeling like I'm way behind in life already. You've accomplished so much at such an early stage and paved the path for others along the way. One thing that we are especially excited to talk to you about is your role as the second female drum major in history. Was being a drum major something you always wanted to pursue?
That's a really good question. Being a drum major was not always something I wanted to pursue. I actually did not know that I wanted to even try out to become drum major until the marching season immediately before I auditioned. Although I have been in marching bands, concert bands, I grew up playing the drums, so I've been in percussion ensembles as well. Despite doing that my whole entire life, I didn't know that I wanted to serve in a leadership position within the band until I saw at HBCU marching band. That experience was unlike no other, just being amongst my people, kind of exuding music through our culture. I really felt that, okay, my musical training up until this point, this is the space in where I really need to go for this. There was also a lot of physical movement with it as well. I used to be a dancer, so just the physical aspects and the musical aspects in this Black space, I was really, really excited to be able to pursue that position.
That's awesome. So for all the little girls out there, all the folks who are considering this as a path, tell us a little bit more about what your journey looked like.
Wow, it was a long and arduous journey. I will tell you that right off the bat. And though it was that way, I would say it was very rewarding. It was very long. So even before I became drum major, there was actually a 6 to 7 week audition process where I was every single day learning moves, training, exercising. We had kind of mental exercises that we were doing as well every single day for about 7 weeks. And that's before I even actually auditioned. I didn't even know if I was going to be drum major yet. And I was still doing all that stuff. Then once I actually became drum major, serving in the position, it meant a lot. Like you said, I was the second female drum major in the history of the band that I was in. And in that position, the women in the band had experienced a lot of pay equity. The opportunity for women to get paid in the band was not there, even though you now had a female drum major. Come on now, I'm leading this band. Y'all got to pay me.
Come on now.
Exactly.
That's right.
It's real. So as a drum major, once I actually got the position, I knew that the platform that I had as a leader in this band was to be the voice for the other women in the band as well, which entailed a lot of protests, little internal protests that we did to kind of alleviate this this inequity that we were experiencing. So a lot of pushback on that, but it was something that I knew I needed to do. I knew I had a purpose that I wanted to fulfill. And though it was challenging and it was tiring throughout the whole way, I would say, even being here, having this opportunity shows that that fight was worth it.
That's great. And that's the thing about the systems that we occupy, that many of them, even with the best intentions, can still be influenced by legacy things that we don't even always recognize until the moment strikes and we realize that there is inequity. So kudos to you for not being afraid and being fearless and pushing back on that.
Thank you.
Recently, you joined the American Family team and our advertising agency partner, Elite Media. And we are very excited that you came with us and you helped us film our commercial titled Marching Band. You helped to ensure that the choreography was right, that the wardrobes were culturally accurate, that we had, the regalia and all the pageantry and pride that comes with being a part of an HBCU band. You basically made sure we got it right. That was your whole goal and your job on set, and you kept us right. So can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like for you? Before we get started with that question, let's take a moment and watch the marching band commercial.
Inspiring her dreams and helping her pursue them. That's why we protect your house and your car, because we know they're the launching pad to their dreams. And now you can save up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com.
Yes, it was so fun. I speak so highly of that experience. Any person that I meet or any friend that I have not seen in years, I make sure that I share that I had this experience with them because it was so fun. Being a musician, I am appreciative of the arts. So the whole production scene and putting things together, I was really on board with that. Just being on set as well, hey, come here, do this. Can you answer this question? How does this look? Can you go over here and do this stuff? The chaotic energy of it, I was really I worked well in that space, but also just being asked to participate in this production, I really appreciated, both with Elite and with American Family Insurance. I think that there's a lot of social progress that this world needs to make, especially in today's day and age. And I think that simply going to the people that are understanding and knowledgeable about what's being put together so that things can be as accurate as possible, I think I was so appreciative to be able to be a part of this process, and am going to continue to speak very highly of this experience for years and years to come.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm really glad. I'm glad that you were there. We wanted to work with you because we always want to make sure that our work represents women and represents the culture authentically. I watched a couple of videos of you, and one of them you've said, on game day, I'm looking to the left, I'm looking out of the corner of my eye, I'm making sure I'm using my peripherals to make sure that everything is moving in the right way, and I have a mama face. And so when I give somebody the mama look, they know that they're out of line. I was like, that's who we want. That's who we need to make sure that our work looks good. Yeah. So thank you. Hopefully you didn't have to give the mama eye to anybody on our set.
No, I did not. Everyone was very professional and accommodating. So it was all smiles that day.
Well, so in addition to that, we were especially drawn to working with you because of the ways you've paved the way for not only your dreams, but for other dreamers as well. And as dream advocates and dream champions at American Family, we're always looking for other people who believe in the same things that we believe in. And when I learned more about your story, what was even more inspiring is that it felt almost like an accidental activist moment for you. So can you talk to us about the importance of being a trailblazer and empowering others to follow their dreams? And what gave you the courage to do it?
Accidental activist. I don't think there's a better way to describe what my experience was like this. It really was very accidental because being a trailblazer, again, I was doing something in a space where a lot of women hadn't done. But the thing about me and myself was I knew I was capable of it. So regardless of anything else anyone had to say, I was going to go for it. So I really, like you said, accidental activist. I didn't mean to intentionally inspire others, but I know that the reason I was able to go for it is because I followed my heart and I followed my passion and I followed my interest. And honestly, I think that's what trailblazing is, being able to recognize what you want, what your interests are, what you know you're capable of, and going for it, regardless of what anyone else thinks, whatever society tells you you can and can't do. If I know in my heart that this is something I'm capable of and want for myself, I'm not going to ascribe to anything else that anyone says or thinks that I should be doing. I'm going to go for this because I know that this is something that I want. And because it's something that I want, I was able to put my full effort into it and reap the benefits of it as well. So I think in this specific space, being a female drum major, I know this is not something that a vast majority of people would want, but I know that was something I wanted for myself. So in doing that in this marching band space, I feel like I've been able to open the door for a lot of other women to find their passions in other areas and know that if this is something that you want to do, you can go for it, because you've got to live your life and be able to go home, look yourself in the mirror and be happy with the decisions and the things that you're doing in your life.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the feelings you had during the audition process?
There were very many feelings. So many feelings. Honestly, it was a blur just being in the thick of it. I didn't realize what I had done until it was over. Not only was I on the other side of making history and completely aware of that the whole time, that if I get through this and make this position, this is going to be insane. That was weighing on me the whole entire time. I was actually also coming off of a knee injury the season before, the marching season before. A few months, I dislocated my kneecap, sprained my MCL. It was really bad. I was in physical therapy for about a month and a half. I could barely run when I started auditioning without my leg buckling under me. So I was also thinking about not messing up my leg again, but also thinking about what I need to do to overcome this injury to be able to make history. It was crazy. It was crazy stuff going on at the time. But like I said, it was really a blur, but through it all, I knew that this is something that I want to do. I know this is something that I want to align myself with. I know this is something that I'm capable of as well. So just continually telling myself that I'm capable and I want this. And so you've got to give your all no matter what. And just being able to fight to the finish and see whatever happens in the end. Whatever happened in the end, I threw myself into the process to grow and learn from it. And for that, I am appreciative. Even if I hadn't gotten the position, well, I can't say, who knows how I would have reacted then, but I feel that I would have been fine had I not, because again, just investing myself in that, it was worth it.
Yeah, I love that. I think that you always know when you're on to something big or you're on the verge of something, when all things start going around you, like feels like calamity. Yeah. I always feel like that's when you know that breakthrough is close, because that's when all those obstacles start coming and you are operating in almost a level of just pure energy, just to remove those obstacles and get to your goals. So I love that. So, as we think about women more and more being the first, the second, the third, the fourth in a space that is more male dominated, can you explain kind of what that experience has been like for you?
It has been very interesting, I will say. I grew up actually with brothers and male cousins. I was kind of the only girl in a lot of the spaces I was working in. So it was something that I was not necessarily nervous to go into. However, I was aware of the fact that there is a stigma associated with the drum major position regardless. There's a lot of male associations with that position. So going into it as a woman, there was a lot of stigma put on me. I'm doing a job. I'm not becoming a different person. I am serving in a position. So really getting rid of that stigma was something that I had to do. The way I was able to do that was just being vocal and being present and being very unapologetically me the whole entire time, but also being me while still doing the duties of the position. It really opened people's eyes to see, okay, she's just a person. This is just a position that a person can fill, man, woman, whatever, however you identify. There's a skill and a need and a purpose and a goal in this position. And whoever you are, me being a woman, I was still able to do that. So I think I got rid of some of that stigma associated with the position. And I think that women can just continue to represent and be present and show this is something I'm capable of, being a woman in a male-dominated space.
Yeah. And when you think about the young girls, the women who will come after you, what do you wish for? Like, what do you wish for their experience to be like? How do you hope their experience is different than in maybe what yours was because you were there first?
Yes, I am hoping and already kind of seeing, because there are actually women who are interested in being a drum major for the band I was in, which I love to see. It was the goal for me to be able to serve in that position, just to open the doors. I want to see them continue to be unapologetically themselves, whatever that means. I know that it's very impactful. I know that women's capabilities are very vast, especially if they're able to invest themselves into something. So I really want them to just be themselves, honestly, and do what they want and lead how they feel they need to lead. I really just want to open the door for not even women, really just people in general, to follow their dreams and align their actions with their interests and with their purpose for themselves.
That's great.
Yeah.
Who inspires you? So when you, oftentimes we have someone who helped us, women who inspired us, women who help us overcome obstacles. Can you, when you look back at your journey, are there women that helped you overcome those obstacles and walked beside you during this, as you achieved your dreams?
Definitely. Well, I'll always say my mother. I've got to attribute most of my success as a woman to my mother. As a young girl, being able to recognize that you don't need that in your life. You are very capable on your own. So she instilled that in me in a very young age. But even being in the band at Morehouse, the alumni association is huge. The alumni presence is huge. So all of the women who have served in the band previously, whether they were instrumentalists, whether they were dancers, whether they were on the color guard team, they were all there to support me. They actually put me in contact with the first female drum major at Morehouse, and I was able to communicate with her and speak with her. Even before I had gotten the position, I was able to communicate with her. But just having that support system with people who have been in this organization, people know how this organization works, people know the effort that goes into putting this band family together, being able to know that I had all of their support and they were all rooting for me, encouraging me, it was very, very uplifting throughout the whole entire process.
Yeah, it's so important to have people who support you. And similar to you, I think everybody says their mom, their sisters, the people who are close to them, their sisters by blood, their sisters by just people who you develop bonds with. And it's so important to help us to achieve our dreams. You said something that really struck me. You said that it's not, you want to inspire women, but you want to inspire everybody. And I think that's so true, is that a good, someone who pushes through adversity and is able to really be fearless is inspiring to everyone, not just for women. However, we are celebrating Herstory Month. You've heard me say that a couple of times. We call it Herstory because it's about women taking control of their own stories and really us celebrating those stories for the month of March. But we know it's not just a month, it's year round. It's an always on effort for how we, fight for our dreams. Mm-hmm. How can other women continue to support each other as they open new doors throughout their lives?
Women can listen to each other and recognize that our capabilities are vaster than anyone knows. Being able to look at women in history and in today who are making waves in spaces, even, they're making bigger waves in spaces where men haven't been able to make waves. Being able to see she is capable, then I am capable as well. Representation is huge. Again, being able to see women serve in positions, but also the women that can bring themselves to be public about the things that they're doing and the impact that they're having, being vocal and, unapologetic with it as well, I think is really important. I think that we need a lot of inspiration amongst ourselves and uplifting amongst ourselves, and encouragement, really recognizing that we are capable and then acting on it as well. It's really the action. Representation and action needs to happen.
So speaking of representation and action, equal pay is something that you've taken action on. It's something you've been passionate about. You've had an active voice in that conversation. Can you share with us what made you initially get involved in advocacy for equal pay?
Yes.
Reasons, I'm sure, but would love to hear what was it about that issue that really inspired you to really go beyond just the discontent we all feel when we hear about that, but to take action?
Yes. Well, I'll be very straight up with you. It didn't make sense. I'm serving this position, putting in this effort more than you are. This is me pointing to some man who had a scholarship that I didn't have the opportunity for. So how is it fair that you're able to get money and I'm not? That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm not the type of person to be in a space interacting with things that don't make sense. So I'm either going to say something about how this doesn't make sense, or y'all can fix this issue, because it's just illogical. Plain and simple, it doesn't make sense. If I'm putting in this effort and you are also putting in that same effort, then we deserve the same thing. That's it.
What steps did you take to get the action you were looking for?
It was a lot of steps. Of course, like I said, there was history made when I became a drum major. And once we actually took it to a walk-off as well during my first season, we actually did a walk-off during our last game of the season. We completely walked off the field and all the women sat on the sideline in protest of not being paid. That goes again to just being vocal, speaking up, saying something, recognizing that there is a problem and being unapologetic about our issues with it and putting it in other people's faces to say, hey, this is a problem. We obviously know it's a problem. You can't tell us that it's not a problem because, like I said, it doesn't make sense that I'm not getting paid and he's getting paid. So let's do something about it. Just again, being very vocal and open and standing firm with that stance was really important the whole way through.
Yeah, that's owning your power and using your personal agency to make change and understanding the impact that your voice can make.
Definitely.
I'm curious, we know we're obviously familiar with the scholarships that happen within sports teams and university. Do drum majors ever get full scholarship rides?
Not a full ride, no. Band programs aren't as supported by institutions, even, they're partially supported. The women are less supported, but band programs aren't super supported. Not a full scholarship, but there's definitely multiple thousands of dollars that have been awarded to people that I'm familiar with.
So you alluded to this a little bit earlier. Women's empowerment isn't just about women. It takes allies as well. Do you have any advice for anyone who's hoping to be an ally in the pursuit to support their community?
Yes, you have to hear what people are saying. Don't assume what they're saying. And when you listen to them, you have to take what they say at face value and what they need and what their interests are and what they want for themselves. You have to hear that and be able to respond to that accordingly. Oftentimes people might, put a quick fix on something to address, your concerns in the right now. But as long as the needs of women, talking about women, if you're an ally and you're wanting to address women's needs, you need to hear what she says. Because oftentimes women are going to be very straight up about what they need, about what they want and what they have to be okay. Being able to actually act on what they're saying, not what you think they're saying, what you're assuming they're saying, it's the only way to fix something. It's the only way to better women's position, just not in this space, but in all spaces. Honestly, I know we're experiencing a lot of social turmoil in the world right now. And I think not even just for women, but just allies in any sort of space, being able to really understand what these people are going through and recognize that, these people don't have malintentions. This is not something that I'm not trying to belittle you. I'm not trying to tear you down. I just know that I deserve more for myself. And when allies are able to approach people who are expressing their needs and expressing their interests with, they're not coming for me, they are advocating for themselves, then I think people can have a better opportunity to help one another and uplift one another.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that all of us have allies. I've had allies in my career. I am grateful and fortunate that American Family Insurance, we are a community of allies. And to your point, there's a lot of things happening in the world. And it's some of it is allies for women, some of it is allies for people of color, some of it is ally for the LGBTQ plus community. But I think, as an organization, we support dreamers, and we understand that part of supporting and championing dreamers is being an ally to a community. And I think listening and having empathy is really important as an ally. One quote that I've heard you say that I love is, serving in this position for the band is a way to represent the strength that women hold, and additionally reflecting that women are much more capable than society gives us credit for. That's powerful. What advice would you give someone that wants to push back on the limitations that society has put on them?
It's a very good question. And you say that quote, I forget I said it. I'm not gonna but that's something that I said, but it's a cool quote. I have to take that one, put that on my resume. But the advice that I would give would be to quiet the noise and follow your heart. it's pretty cliche. And yes, I am a part of Gen Z, so I'm not afraid to say YOLO. Something we said when I was in middle school a lot, but it's true. You only have one life. This is your life. No one else is living your life but you. And if you have an interest, if you have a passion, if you have a desire, you have to go for it, because this is your only chance. It's going to continue to be your only chance. And so you've really got to quiet the noise and recognize that other people's paths and other people's thoughts and other people's interests aren't yours. Other people's hearts are not yours. Other people's passions are not yours. So being able to really trust your gut and know that if you have good intentions and good desires for yourself, as long as you follow that, you'll be able to get something from it. Even if it's not what you want from it, aligning yourself with things that you're interested in and desire for yourself are naturally going to allow you to grow and blossom and maybe find something else that you want to align yourself with.
Quiet the noise and follow your heart. I wrote that down. I love that. What, do you have anything that you do specifically to help yourself quiet the noise?
That's a good question. Not really. I feel like I just am very naturally, I'm not trying to hear what you're saying. I feel like, especially now, I feel like I'm really living in everything that I have worked for actively now. I mean, again, having this opportunity to speak with you, work with American Family Insurance and with Elite, if I had not followed my interest and desires to be a drum major, I wouldn't have this opportunity. And because I am here now, seeing that fight that I put in got me here, it's something that has shown me that my act of quieting the noise and aligning myself and following my heart, it has showed me that it's worth it. And I've also always been able to feel very proud of myself as well. I think that's something, I try to be humble about it, but I'm pretty prideful. I'm really happy with the life that I've established for myself and the people I've aligned myself with, the things that I've directed my energy to. And I've always kind of done that, at least since I've been in college, because I followed my heart. I actually got to college and I was a chemistry major. I stayed a chemistry major, but I was actually pre-med. And within a month of being in school, I realized this is not something that I'm going to put my efforts towards. This is not something that I'm feeling, even though I might be capable to do this. I know in my heart that this is not something that I want to be doing right now, which is why I immediately made the switch to education, because I felt that that was something that I wanted to do. And I got a lot of pushback actually from my family, but that was really my first moment where I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to see this through because I know this is something I want for myself. And even though my family and my friends are like, well, maybe you should be a doctor, I'm like, no, I'm going to go into education, which didn't make much sense. But you know, everything that I've gotten from it. And right now, also just education being so messed up as well. I'm so happy that I made that switch because I was able to make a really big impact in that regard. So just honestly living my life in a lot of truths and a lot of interests and passions that I've had over the years have kind of instilled that naturally in me. So I think once people are able to have that moment for themselves, have that breakthrough, that opportunity to see, I quieted the noise, I did what I wanted to do, and it worked out very well for me. I think having a moment like that is really helpful for being able to do that going forward.
That's great. Something I've been talking about lately is being a courageous learner. And I think, you know, life doesn't always teach us lessons in a convenient way, but we have to be open that however life teaches us, we're willing to learn. And it's so important when you are pursuing a dream. It's so important when it means you might have to work against the norms or do things that I've never done before, to be open to be a courageous learner, because it's learning and courage, which makes it, every victory is a bigger victory, and any failure is not really a failure because you learned. As you think about someone who's working towards a dream that maybe is going against the norms, who is facing quieting the noise, anchoring themselves to be a courageous learner, what advice would you give them?
Oh, so much advice. Really, all I could say, it's crazy and it's very cliche, but trust your gut. You've really got to be able to hear your conscience and know that your own individual conscience is there for you. It's supposed to guide you and help you move the way that you are supposed to move to be able to reap and get the goals and achieve the things in life that you want to achieve. So yes, quieting the noise, that is a process, a learning process in and of itself, but also being able to recognize that your path is your path. No one in life has done the same thing ever. Every experience everyone has had cumulatively is all unique. So though it might be the norm to go this path, right? Same thing I said when I could have stayed pre-med. I have so many people that were pre-med that did not change their mind, that are not doing anything in their life right now because they went with the norm. They went with, this is the thing people are saying I should do. This is the thing that people think I should do. So I'm going to do that. But now all their paths are all over the place. You've really got to recognize what you want in your life, recognize where you want to be and how you want to move, and trusting your gut and knowing that your gut is going to align you where you want to go. Being able to trust in that. It's cliche and it's not a specific thing you can do, but it has worked so well for me. It's worked so well for a lot of people in my life that have been able to see things through and fight to the finish. Just being able to commit yourself to that and trust your gut, it's so helpful.
So much wisdom in that. What are your most valuable lessons that you've learned so far in your journey?
Yes, I kind of just said it there, but it's the biggest thing. Seeing something through, that is the biggest thing that I've learned, that you don't know how anything's going to go until it's over. You never know, even if you're in the thick of it and things aren't going well. If you're like, oh, this isn't how I thought this process was going to go, you never know what the result is going to be until you get to the end of it. So seeing it through, also committing yourself to it, putting all your effort in, even if at the end of the day, you don't get whatever benefit you want, if you don't reach the goal you were trying to reach, you can go home and look at yourself in the mirror and know that you did everything in your power to go for the things that you wanted to. And oftentimes when you do put your full effort in, that energy, people can see that. If there's someone that is, you're trying to go for a position, you're trying to get a job, or you're trying to do whatever, if there's someone else there, they can see that your interest and your efforts are true, they're genuine. So honestly, just being really genuine, committing yourself to the process and fighting to the finish with all that you've got, that is super, super useful, necessary, especially, gosh, this world is tough. I'm experiencing that now. And if I didn't have that for myself, I don't know where I would be right now.
Yeah, there's a verse, that which shaken can be shaken, so that which cannot be shaken shall remain.
Amen.
And I think that that's what you get when you follow your dreams, you follow them fearlessly. The things that remain are the things that stick with you in that fearless pursuit. So at the DreamBank, at American Family Insurance, our mission is to help people pursue their dreams. We believe the pursuit of your dream is a noble achievement. So can you tell us a little bit about the dreams you're currently pursuing? You've talked some about it, education, chemistry, I heard. Tell us about what you're currently doing and any advice you have for someone who is currently pursuing their dreams.
Yes. So the big dream I'm pursuing in my life right now is really just independent stability. These 20-somethings are just a whirlwind of a ride. I'm grateful for the fact that I have put myself in a position to be able to kind of ride the wave of life, see where things take me. I do have my chemistry degree and my teacher certification. So when I graduated, I did work as a high school chemistry teacher for a couple of years, but I'm actually in grad school now. I am continuing getting more degrees, but also I'm still working in education. I'm in an instructional design program. It's a really niche kind of subject area, which probably don't have the time to explain to you right now, but it's basically so that I can work more on the developmental side of education. So creating more resources, especially having taught through COVID and technology being such a big proponent of education now, recognizing how poor the technological resources are to be used in education and to supplement teaching. That is pretty much what I am preparing myself to be able to do with this master's degree. So though that was my intention, the field that I'm studying is actually very vast. I can work in corporate spaces, I can work in educational spaces, I can kind of work in any space. So that is really where I'm at, just riding the wave, seeing, what happens once I get this degree, what opportunities fall into my lap, just being open really to finding more passions and more interests in my life. So while I am doing that, I am actually working with the drum majors at Morehouse still, though it was something that I would have done regardless, because again, the whole legacy thing with HBCU marching bands, I was going to be involved in that regardless, but I am actually specifically leading the audition process, the one that 6-7 week process that I described. I'm actually leading that process now. So practice every day, teaching them all the moves, all the leadership training. I'm working with those drum majors. I actually also serve as a softball coach. Just done a whole bunch of things in my life. I played softball when I was young. So the high school I worked at, I'm serving as a softball coach for their team as well. So really just living life. I don't know how else to describe it. Just continuing to follow my passions like marching band, softball, education. These were all things that I was passionate about as a student in school. I was able to be a part of these things. So continuing with those passions more on the giving it to others now side for the most part.
Speaking of giving it to others,
Yeah.
what's your dream for the next generation of drum majors? You're training them, you're helping them go through this process. What's your dream for them?
My dream for them is to increase their discipline and the standards and expectations that they have for themselves. I think that really, especially having taught through COVID, this up and coming generation has gone through a lot. They've experienced a lot. They've kind of been torn down, and knowing what this world is like on the other side of it, having been just thrown into this world. I literally graduated from college in 2020 when COVID was happening. I was thrown into the world in COVID. And experiencing that and knowing how tough it is and knowing that it takes some real gusto to be able to get through it and be able to get through it successfully. A lot of this up and coming generation, not just drum majors, but just kids in general, they have so many interests and desires and passions that they want to pursue. And this world is tough. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to have higher expectations for themselves so that they can continue to act on those and know what it feels like to be acting on those very high expectations for themselves so that they can be disciplined enough to be ready to take on whatever's thrown at them so that they can achieve their goals no matter what.
Well, Lila, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your story, and your advice with us today. I know I have gleaned so many meaningful insights and reflections along the way, and it's been an honor to spend this time with you. It really was everything that we hoped for and so much more. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. We're so grateful that you took time to spend with us. So thank you.
Yes.
To stay in touch with DreamBank's events, programs, and online offerings that are designed with your dreams in mind, visit us at amfam.com/DreamBank and connect with us on our social channels. As we close out this year's Women's Herstory Month, what an esteemed privilege we have had to celebrate and learn from fearless dreamers whose pursuit of their own dreams empower the dreams of many others. And in true DreamBank fashion, we most certainly continue to do so as well. To highlight another excellent upcoming learning opportunity, we invite you to join us for the upcoming series, Love Yourself, a 5-part series on radical self-love led by mental health therapist Kira Wackett. To all of you who tuned in and spent time with us today, we thank you. On behalf of American Family Insurance and DreamBank, we look forward to hosting you again. Until then, keep dreaming fearlessly.